The Ride with JMV, 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Appropriately starting out, a sky point and an RIP to, simply put, one of the greatest of all time. As word is global now that Ozzy Osbourne has passed away at the age of 76. Jeff Boggs, who's across the hall with Nigel right now, is a guy that actually has a little bit of experience with Ozzy in the past, and he was telling stories out in the hallway to me a little bit earlier that were outstanding. I will hit upon that. We will re-enter all day. You know, it is weird. If you would have told me, the young me back in the 1980s, and by the way, too, as I mentioned to Jake a little bit earlier, like the early Ozzy Osbourne stuff, it was a little bit scary. I can't lie. When I was 10, I go, hey, this is a little bit scary here. It was kind of like the album cover of AC/DC, and You Say You Want Blood, I think is what that album is called, where Angus Young is being impaled by a guitar. I was always scared of that album cover, too. But you come to realize the importance of a lot of things, musically speaking, and Ozzy Osbourne and his presence across the board, whether we're talking about Black Sabbath or just Ozzy Osbourne on his own, those that he worked with. And I know that a lot of you tuned in to his tribute show, and that was a heads up to many that maybe things were not going well. I don't know if anybody anticipated as quickly his passing as did take place. But we've had Brad Gillis on the show of Night Ranger, who was also a part of his band, played lead guitar. I don't know if he was the first or just in succession one of those that came after the plane crash death of Randy Rhoads in the early 80s. But, yeah, we've talked to Brad Gillis about that before and a number of others. It is a sad day. And I'll double back. If you were to told the young me in the early 80s that there was going to be a point in time when we were going to be without Michael Jackson, Prince, David Bowie, Tom Petty, and I'm sure I'm missing somebody, but those immediately jumped to the front of the line. Olivia Newton-John. I would have said, and Ozzy Osbourne now would have said, what? Just such staples. And it seems like with each, and especially the aforementioned Bowie and Prince and Michael Jackson. I remember when Michael Jackson passed away, I was doing a show at the pub downtown. And it was before the NBA draft because I was at the other station, and then this station at the time, they were kind of being horses' asses about letting me in because they had rights to the Pacers. So I was out at the pub drinking and having a good time, and those dorks were inside yip-yapping it up when I couldn't go in until the show was over. And then I came over here and everything was okay. But it is incredible what we've all gone through regarding our favorite artist. And I say this every week as a part of the JMV Takeover. It is something to celebrate. Music is something to celebrate. And I think it becomes even more profound and understandable the older that we get. Because it is the soundtrack of our lives. There is a song with deep meaning, and it may not mean anything to anybody else, but damn straight it may be meaningful to you. R.I.P. and a sky point to the great Ozzy Osbourne, who has passed away at the age of 76 a little bit earlier today. Our reentry music will be courtesy of Ozzy throughout the afternoon, and a busy afternoon it will be. Greg Rakestraw is going to join us coming up at the bottom of the hour. Greg does everything, including the Colts post-game show. The Colts had is that a soft report today? I know the rookies were in. I know the fellas this morning talked to Kenny Moore and Josh Downs. Tomorrow is when they officially get underway. I'm going to see if I can nose my way in. Not a lot of afternoon gatherings, with the exception of some evenings and a couple there that I will be attending. But I'm going to see if I can nose my way in and get somebody on the show coming up tomorrow. But Greg, bottom of the hour, is going to join us. Mark Vandermeer, who is the voice of the Houston Texans. So it's a celebration today of the musical catalog and the genius of the late Ozzy Osbourne, and somewhat a celebration of the AFC South and what in the hell this thing is going to look like this season. And if a Colts fan says, much like Pacer fans have suggested in the past, why not us? You can kind of understand it when you see exactly the landscape. I think this time last year, I was touting how good the AFC South was going to be, how good we felt it was going to be. And as that turned out, it was not at all. As, again, the entirety of the season dictated to us. Mark Vandermeer, the voice of the Texans, Mike DeRocco of ESPN and ESPN.com, the entirety of the AFC South with Mike, and then, of course, the Jacksonville Jaguars with Mike a little bit later on. As I mentioned to Jake in the crossover conversation right there, Laura Steele is going to join us. I still don't know why she's not where she used to be or anywhere else around here. That's crazy to me, but you see her enough, right? You do see her on Channel 13 WTHR. I'm assuming you'll see her with the Cookie Monster and with Pascal Siakam. I love when the Pacers are being recognized for something, because you know I love this group. And even though my love with the former 33 dwindled with his exit strategy out of Indy, and really not so much the strategy. I don't care if you go out and get more money. Go get more money. We would all go get more. Hell, I left to get more money, and because I knew that things over there were going to fall apart. But I left for a lot of the same reasons. The gig that I had once upon a time here. So I do understand that aspect. I'm not going to be hypocritical, but what was said afterwards is absolutely, positively ridiculous. So I love the accolades that these Pacers get for what was an iconic season. And again, a season we're going to remember forever. Regardless of how it ended, the heartbreak, and what you're always going to think about. 7-minute mark in the first quarter. Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Those 2 sevens sucked. But in its entirety, what an incredible season, and it's awesome to see that celebrated. Pascal Siakam's going to be in the pace car at the Brickyard 400. I think that is fantastic. I'm sure Laura will get a chance to talk with him. I'm assuming she will be out there. I'm not quite sure if she will be or not. Normally she does race stuff for Channel 13. She's also the hostess at the Bullseye Event Center with bullseyeeventgroup.com. And, of course, Kyle Kinnett back on board with me. I'll be doing a pre-game show from the Bullseye Event Center once again for all home games coming up on the Colts schedule this season. And Laura is always a significant part of that, along with DJ Skids. Sometimes Helicon is a part of it, but it is spectacular. And I know Kyle Kinnett, I talked to him last week. Kyle Kinnett's got a lot in store for you coming up this season. Hopefully the Colts have a lot in store for you this season and not the same old. You don't want a dose of the same old on here. Hopefully something different. It'd be great. And I know, it is weird. Chris Ballard met with the media today, right? So I get the impression, and yes, you're absolutely right. Should there have been change? Yes, changes should have been made. They weren't. So here's the issue with some. The issue is that you want to see this team win because, by God, you're sick and tired of watching it be mediocre to dreadful to bad to boring and to be apathetic about the product. You want those Sundays, you want these games, you want this season to be meaningful. And you got that juice, don't you? I mean, you got that little taste of it from the Pacers, and you want more of a taste. Because let's face it, the taste that you received from this Colts organization years ago has long since disappeared. But the Pacers got you in a groove, got you juice for wanting a little bit more. What? Without question. Because the alternative is what we've witnessed now over the years, and it's been awful. Seriously, it's been awful. Boring, tired, all the above. But I find Colts fans right now in a position, and correct me if I'm wrong. If it's not you, that's okay. If it is you, you can tell me. But I find Colts fans in a situation to where many of them want to see that change. Many of them, maybe it's you, want to see them finally win. You're starved for winning with your favorite football team. Others, I think, are tired with what has been going down and what has been continued around here. And others kind of feel like, you combine that with what appears to be, with the eyeball test on the schedule, a very boring schedule this season. And the fact that you want a significant change to finally happen. So you're going to be okay if things once again are mediocre or below. Or, for lack of a better description, a failure. I'm never okay with the failure. I'm never going to root for a failure. It's like me with the Pacers right now. I do believe in this team, and that is true. I wouldn't lie to you about that. I wouldn't lie to you about anything. I'd joke with you about stuff and jack with you about stuff, but yeah, lying's not my deal. So I do believe in this Pacer team. I can't, until further notice, believe in this Colts team. But you guys have a taste of this Pacer team doing things, and no pun intended, with Phil Collins. I'm always thinking about Phil Collins, by the way, too, as far as those that we love and I never saw, and you kind of wonder how much longer we had. Inevitably, we end up talking about stuff like that, and I hate it. But much like Phil Collins, against all odds, right? Situations the Pacers were in, especially in the postseason, where it seemed that the odds were stacked against them, and they persevered. They found a way. There is an article regarding T.J. McConnell in the Players Tribune that's making the rounds in social media today. Have you read some of the quotes and the comments? And all I've received from those, and I would advise you to check it out and then report back to me. Now, there's not going to be a quiz, but you will have a minor book report due on that story at some point. But T.J. McConnell, in all of his quotational greatness, describes exactly why I love that group, exactly why I always want him around. I've always wanted him around. Remember, I had to battle with people regarding T.J. McConnell? I mean, hell, during the regular season, Pacer fans wanted him gone. Pacer fans thought he was inadequate as the backup. You wanted something else. I said, hey, hold on a minute. This guy, there are multi-heartbeats with this team. He's one of them. What happened? Turned out fantastic. Did it not? Still with the disappointment of Game 7. And you could tell he also describes the emotion of what took place in the first 7 minutes and then what took place in Game 7. And still not getting over that massive emotional disappointment in losing in 7 games the NBA Finals. But he speaks exactly what I believe and why I believe in this team. The Players Tribune is the article, and I would suggest you check that out. And you can, again, report back to me in book report form and try to explain to me just how much more you love that dude coming off the bench and whether or not you're going to jump on board and believe in this group, or if you're going to go like some of these dorks out there that are suggesting this is going to be a great season to tank and get a really top-notch pick in lottery, whatever. Dorks. A loser mentality and a dork take is what you got right there. And I'm not a part of it. But my advice is to read that. But to play off of it, get a lot of people that have suggested that maybe it would be a good season for the Pacers not to be so good. It's okay without Tyrese Halliburton. It's okay to recalibrate without him. I say keep doing what you're doing because what you're doing is working. Is it not? Keep doing what you're doing. I give you a great example. I know that I think it was Barry Odom that came on with the morning guys and had kind of taken a shot at Kurt Signetti and his scheduling in Bloomington. You know, the ripping of the game with Virginia. I don't know if he went into full detail, but I just saw some quotes on it, and, you know, obviously he took a shot at it. Here's my suggestion to everybody, and this is how I always try to be. You know your limitations. You know what you don't know. And holy hell, if it works, go with it. There's always time to adjust on the fly, but why would you want to go away? I don't care if it is 1 year. I mean, hell, for IU football fans, 1 year was a stinking lifetime achievement award a year ago. I don't care who they schedule. If I were them, if I were an IU football fan, I would not care as long as the results are there. You get to where you need to be by whatever means necessary. And in the college landscape, whether it's football or basketball, this time has never been more dramatic in that category. Man, everybody is out there for theirs. You better go get you a slice. You better go get a piece, or that dish is going to be empty by the time you belly up to it. By whatever means necessary. I mean, look what's happening now to the highest bidder players. I mean, the landscape is completely different. So, again, I know that it's a rivalry, and that is fantastic. But as an IU football fan, I wouldn't care who the hell they scheduled. If you can come anywhere near the category of results that you got a year ago, who the hell cares? Who cares what Barry Odom thinks? Who cares what anybody thinks? That's true. And with the Colts, I'll double back to what I was talking about there. You have the fans that are kind of at a crossroads, many of them. You want to see them win. You want to have a reason to be excited. You're playing off the pace of success. You got a taste of that. You want more, especially with your favorite football team. But at the same time, you are ready for a regime change, and you are ready for that right now. That's something to me that really only success can figure out. Or in this case, the lack thereof. You can have an opinion on it, but anything that comes with success, you got to ride that success. Yeah, the Colts haven't had the opportunity. They've had to ride the lack of success, or they have been saddled up with mediocrity. I would have to think that more people than those that just want to see a simply put regime change or don't believe. Listen, I don't believe in Anthony Richardson. I don't believe in this regime. Again, until proven to me, and I still can change my mind. I'm a rational adult. I can still change my mind, but until further notice, I'm a non-believer. But that doesn't mean I want to see that take place. I am sick and tired of the suck. It is much more fun to talk about winning. What we felt was boring, what was humdrum back during the golden era, you would take like a month of the Manning, Polian, Dungy era right now and run with it. So that's where I am. That's how I feel. And we got a lot of time to discuss that over the course of the afternoon. Thank you for joining us inside the AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. Become a AAA member today. You can get great deals, Ruoff Music Center, to see your favorite shows, great deals. Plus, they have your back on the open road wherever you might go. I'm telling you, if you're going to get a summer vacation in, you better hustle some ass up right now because school starts in 5 minutes. Seriously, I think school does start in 5 minutes, doesn't it, for some? Yeah, we gotta make sure we have 2 weeks of fall break and 2 weeks of Christmas break and 2 weeks of spring break. So here's what we do. Let's go back on July the 4th. Zero way. I tell this to Laney all the time. I go, there's zero way. And I know as kids, they're like used to it, right? I tell Laney all the time, I said, give me 2 in-service days so I can run out there and Halloween it up in Greene County, throw some corn, soap some windows, put toilet paper in the trees. Give me a couple of days of that. That's all I need. I don't need 2 weeks of fall break, for God's sake. Laney says, what's in-service days? I say, okay, in-service days is when those teachers, the instructors, have to go to school, but the students don't. Okay, well, tell me more, Dad. I said, well, for me, in-service days meant I would have to go. We had a post office box in Owensburg, Indiana, box 111. So I'd have to go over there because inevitably I would receive something, James, called a smoke-up. You know what a smoke-up is? A smoke-up is where you are failing. You may have failing. You are going down the path of failure in a class. So I'd have to intercept the smoke-up so I could make sure I could go out and do the corning, the soaping, the mooning, the TPing, the Halloweening during in-service days. Luckily with Laney, I don't have to deal with that. No interception of the smoke-up. The smoke-up was a paragraph that said, you know what? Your son is a huge dumbass. My mom would get it and go, yeah, got no argument here. Not at all.
Smoke up has a much different meaning in my head.
Smoke up. Well, I also, when I was in elementary and in junior high, if you went home with a permission slip and brought it back signed by a parent or signed by you or your best friend, you could smoke at school.
Yeah, that wasn't around when I was in,
you could smoke
in
at school. And the huge irony was the smoking section was right in front of a Coke machine that they would not allow you to utilize until after school because
the sugar's bad for you.
The sugar's bad for you. But the Marlboros in front of it are okay. True story.
What decade was this?
Oh, this was the 80s. My God, I love the 80s. That's why I love the 80s. Hey, Mom, I want to smoke at school. Hey, I'm going to go get my ear pierced, declares, all this stuff across the board. Ken Myers is in studio right now. When you come in here, that means something. Is there a major malfunction?
Not anymore.
Oh, did you fix it? Did you get the duct tape out?
Before you walked in.
There you go, man. Joey Logano on the show yesterday, if you missed it. The big reason why he likes to sign, and he hangs around to sign autographs and to meet people, because somebody didn't do that for him when he wanted an autograph way back in the day when he was younger. And that's somebody you know very well. Awesome story told yesterday by Joey Logano. If you missed that, the podcast at 1075thefan.com. That's Joey Logano of Team Penske yesterday. Duraco, Vandermeer, Laura Steele, and Greg Rakestraw on the other side. A lot was said regarding Anthony Richardson. If I'm Chris you got to talk the dude up. You got to talk the dude up. But again, we will see it when we believe it. Chris Ballard met with the media a little bit earlier today. We'll dissect that with Greg Rakestraw coming up on the other side. We got a lot more for you on a busy day as we skypoint and recognize the greatness of Ozzy Osbourne, who passed away earlier today at the age of 76. The stream, the app, HD Radio, the AAA membership lounge via YouTube Live. Just getting started on a Tuesday with 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
is the Bet365 Command Center. Get your race updates here all month long and make sure to enter for your chance to win $500 by predicting the winner of this year's race on July 27th. Go to 1075thefan.com to enter. Now, here's your 2025 race update brought to you by Bet365.
You got racing going on this weekend. You even got some out at Lucas Oil Raceway, the truck series out there. That's awesome, by the way. You'll love that. I would have raced my 83 Chevy S10 Durango package back in the day if they would have allowed me to. I'd have fishtailed all over the road because I didn't have wood in the back. I had to cut wood to make sure I didn't fishtail. There'll be a little fishtailing going on there. There's going to be a lot of racing going on all week long out at IMS. Pascal Siakam is going to be behind the wheel of the pace car. The Grand Marshal is the Cookie Monster. Joey Logano from Team Penske on the show yesterday. All a part of what is going to be a fantastic speed weekend at IMS and Central Indiana and beyond. The Brickyard 400. Enjoy, Indy.
The Ride with JMV.
You take drugs, Danny?
Every day.
Good. So what's the problem?
I don't know.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
R.I.P. Set a standard for a style of music that is very Kurt Cobain-esque in what was discovered. Heavy metal started with this gentleman. Ozzy Osbourne passed away today at the age of 76. We will celebrate a lot of his catalog of music, whether we're talking about Black Sabbath or Ozzy Osbourne or a duet with Lita Ford. Blizzard of Oz, Bark at the Moon, Ultimate Sin. I don't know so much. It's funny. I know a lot of the younger generation just get it from the MTV show. James, you may be in that category, although you're hardcore rocker, though, so you probably loved him prior to the MTV show. Mm-hmm. What were you, like 5, though, when you started rocking?
Oh, yeah. I was pretty young when I started getting into heavy metal.
So a lot, I think, just embraced the Osbournes show, right? But, man, he was so meaningful in music and certainly the genre that you know as heavy metal. Ozzy Osbourne was 76. Meantime, with the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, one of Southern Indiana's finest from Lanesville High School, and he does a little bit of everything, including, I'm assuming, on a Brickyard coverage this weekend. Greg Rakestraw is with us. Hello, Greg. How are you?
I'm good, my friend. How are you?
Greg, it's a sad day in music with the loss of Ozzy.
Are we going to go all Headbangers, Hairspray, Saturday night edition of the show this week?
I don't know if we're going to go the entire way, but we will sprinkle in a lot, I guarantee you that. And we would do that anyway. So, yes, we'll celebrate it. I just mentioned this earlier. It seems like that I've had a show that's been a part of some of those moments, whether it's Michael Jackson or Prince or David Bowie or Tom Petty. You know, those that have been so significant in music. And Ozzy is one of those today that we end up discussing because, again, music and sports are a perfect crossover, as we know.
It is. I am in a place where I have access to both the BBC and Sky right now, and it is being given the proper protocol in Great Britain. Ozzy's passing, knowing that he just played his last show at Villa Park in Birmingham. And so it is being given the proper coverage where I'm currently located.
Yeah, it is. Oh, wait a minute. Where are you?
Brother, I am just south of the Arctic Circle. I am on the north side of Iceland as we speak.
Wait, you're in Iceland right now?
I'm in Iceland. Amy's listening to your phone call. We are sitting on our celebrity cruise ship. We're getting ready to go whale watching here in about an hour. Yes.
Does Amy Rakestraw know how much I love Amy Rakestraw?
She does. That's why she listens to the show on a regular basis. She was bummed because I had Life in a Northern Town, Dream Academy all queued up for you Saturday night, and I called you taking the international fees 4 different times.
What?
She's flipping you off as we speak, by the way.
Oh, no.
And I sent you pictures. The pictures are on your phone, so you can reference them tweet them out if you want to during the show. but you were so busy on Saturday night you wouldn't answer the phone.
Oh,
John.
man, I apologize. It was busy on Saturday night.
Apparently, I know. I called 4 different times, John.
I would have prioritized that, especially. How far are you from the Arctic Circle right now?
So we were north of the Arctic Circle. Hang on, there's a channel here that basically is navigation and gives like our location. The Arctic Circle is 66 degrees north and like 33 minutes. I got to flip off the women's Euros. Hang on a second. 1-0 Italy with the semifinal lead against England on that. But we are located at 65 degrees and 41 minutes. So we're like 100 miles, I think. No, we're not that far. We're maybe like 50 miles south of the Arctic Circle right now. I am in Akiri, Iceland, making our way to Reykjavik in about 3 days.
So are you going to fly from Reykjavik to here to do the Indy 11, then fly back like you normally do on your vacations?
So here's the way that this works, because that's a lot of time zones to cover, John. So we scheduled this. So I am missing the first 2 days of Colts training camp. We fly back Friday. Ian Gilmore for a second week in a row will fill in for me on Soccer Saturday. But Kurt Darling and I will do Brickyard Preview on Saturday. I will make an appearance at Colts camp on Saturday afternoon. And then I will do the Indy 11 FC Tulsa game coming up on Saturday night, and then Brickyard coverage on Sunday. So I will literally be in country for about, if the flights work properly, I'll be in country for about 17 hours before I crack a microphone on Saturday afternoon.
There's nothing more Greg Rakestraw than that description right there.
By the way, I have already registered for an Iceland national team shirt, size medium, for you that I'll be bringing back with me from Iceland. You're welcome.
Is that where that whole chant started with that everybody does that thing
skull?
Now? Yeah.
Yes, and I remember where your passion that was born. This is the time. This vacation is just me and Amy, but it was a vacation with the JMV family 9 years ago, where John was bumming my laptop to watch the Iceland men in the Euros.
I was
when we were at Cape Sandblast. So I've been thinking about that this entire trip. So there will be some Icelandic soccer gear that's coming home with me. Just for you.
What's the weather like up there?
Not JMV weather, although surprisingly, when we were on land earlier today, it was sunny in mid-70s. 2 days ago, it was like sunny in 75. But right now, it's rainy and 15 degrees Celsius, John, which I think translates to 59 degrees.
Wow. That is now. Have you been the hot springs are the deal up there, right? Or the volcanic springs? Is
Correct.
That what
so we saw an active volcano after we landed at the airport on Friday morning and drove to Reykjavik. We have been to 2 different lagoons. We will see hot springs and jump in them at some point in time tomorrow. It was my job to pay for this, and Amy is the tour director, so she has set all this stuff up. We are literally, once I'm done talking to you, going to make a short walk in the rain, hop another boat, and we will go whale watching in the Arctic Ocean tonight.
Wow. That is pretty awesome right there. That's a hell of a trip. This is Amy's idea, correct, though, this trip?
So the trip idea was mine. I'll give it away. My lovely wife turns 50 later this year, and she kind of offhandedly mentioned to me a few months ago, hey, I'm kind of feeling this. I'd like to go someplace special. Another friend of mine happens to be in the trip planning business and advertised this Iceland trip that she had scheduled for August. And I go, hey, there's something here. But obviously August is a little busy for me. So I sent her a note and said, all right, here's my 2-week window where we can do this. What do you have? And she goes, all right, I've got this cruise that goes all around Iceland that goes from you leave the 17th, you get back the 25th. I'm like, sold American, let's go. So that's what we've been doing.
All right. So have you been paying attention to Colt stuff? I know you're not here as a part of the report dates and the start of camp, but anything pique your interest? I'm not going to get too deep into it because you are in Iceland. I want you to celebrate that and not have to live in the dialogue that we live in right now as far as the Colts until further notice.
Well, obviously, normally my first day up there wouldn't be report day, would be tomorrow, would be the practices. And those first couple of practices are even more walkthroughs and kind of 1-hour deals. It's still better than the alternative. The obvious big news going into it is that And maybe Chris Ballard said otherwise today, but in terms of any sort of restrictions that Anthony Richardson would have in terms of throwing.
Yeah, I think he said volume, which is described as no restrictions, but I think volume, is that restrictive? Or is volume, that's protocol, right? Volume is protocol, but not restriction?
Something. I've had a couple of drinks today, so I may get lost in that translation.
No, I think I'm just making crap up at this point, yeah.
Sure. So here's what I would say is this, first of all, if you have a legitimate competition, nobody's going to be throwing out their shoulder because you got to get important reps for both guys. I think you're going to see a significant drop-off in reps from Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson, down to Riley Leonard and Jason Bean. But the fact that he has been seemingly given the all clear going into camp means that we get to see a legitimate competition that I really don't think is going to be settled or determined until at least past August 23rd. And the importance of that date is that's the third and final preseason game.
He is Greg Rakestraw and Amy Rakestraw reporting live from Iceland today. So what's on the menu in Iceland? A little seafood?
We're on a cruise ship, so not surprisingly, like every American food you can think of. But I did notice they were in town. There was an advertisement for crepes with shrimp in them, which I thought was interesting. And then we also ran by a place today that specialized in both pizza and kebab. So I don't think that's a local thing, but I found the combination rather interesting. There is a Subway, though, about 3 blocks from us just in case we needed it.
All right. Greg Rakestraw is with us. Hey, I brought up the analogy. It was a part of a really segment number 1 monologue analogy regarding if it's working, go with it. And Barry Odom had mentioned, I think it was on the morning show late last week, it kind of took a shot at IU's scheduling and, the lack of heavy hitters in the pre-conference schedule. And, a lot of people had comments. I'm sure you probably read that even before you took off for Reykjavik, Iceland, and this particular cruise. But I would suggest this: you got to find your niche and your groove, and you got to roll with it. Listen, if it's playing, you and I in the pre-conference schedule, and it works, especially having a season like this past year, I would go with what got you there. And I sure as hell, and I'm sure Signetti doesn't worry about what anybody else has to say about it.
Couple quick things that come to mind. One, it's not a problem until it is. In other words, the college football playoff now has expanded to such a degree that with that schedule and missing, other than Ohio State, Penn State, they didn't play Penn State, they didn't play Oregon last year. They still qualify for the college football playoff. So in other words, if you're the Big Ten, and we're now talking about potentially the Big Ten getting like 4 guaranteed bids, this thing, which I don't think is right, but that's a conversation for a different day. If you're Indiana, you remarkably, in the span of about 18 months, have gone from, hey, don't play U of L in a non-conference game because you need to schedule Indiana State, Ball State, and somebody from the Fun Belt before you get into conference play to guarantee 6 wins, to now that same combination of teams, you simply do what you have done in the Big Ten, and that will get you in the CFP anyway because your conference is so good. And now that you do mix in a USC, a UCLA, a Washington, Oregon, basically what Indiana is saying is that, you know what, we don't have to play anybody in the non-conference schedule because if we do what we think we can do in the Big Ten, that enough gets you in the college football playoff. So when this would change would be as if, let's say, Indiana goes 10-2 this year and doesn't make it. You know what's going to happen? They're going to fix it and they're going to play somebody else because they feel they have a good enough program to be in there if they would alter their strength of schedule. So to me, what they are doing is saying, all right, here was the recipe for success last year. Let's follow that until we know it's no longer a recipe for success.
As Tin Cup once so profoundly stated, ride it until it bucks you or you don't ride at all. Correct?
Correct. If it ain't broke, what they say we're from back home.
Yeah.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Oh, all right. This is for you and Amy as we close here. Greg Rakestraw is live from Iceland on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. The Salvation Army band played, and the children drank lemonade. And the morning lasted all day, all day. That's okay for you, the Dream Academy.
I never thought I never thought I would be so happy hearing you serenade me in person or 4 time zones away. Well done by you.
Yes, life in a northern town from the Dream Academy. Greg and Amy Rakestraw live with us internationally from Iceland on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. You guys enjoy that cruise and the time away, and we'll see you back here, man. Thanks for the call.
See you over the weekend, buddy. Be good.
So Greg Rakestraw and Amy Rakestraw on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Was I as good as the Dream Academy right there? Quick before I had a break, sad to hear Ozzy died today. When I was in high school, I discovered Sabbath. War Pigs was terrifying and mesmerizing at the same time. It was Ozzy's voice that took me away to a dark universe, a great escape. Then when the Blizzard of Oz record came out, I was instantly a fan. Randy Rhoads was an influence on me to play lead guitar. Luckily, I got to play on the song Immortal on the last record. Thanks for the music, Ozzy. It makes our journey in life better. James, you want to know who said that? Yet another lead guitarist that we know today.
Off the top of my head, I'll just say Zakk Wylde because he played a lot with Ozzy.
Mike McCready of Pearl Jam. With that statement about 30 minutes ago regarding the passing at the age of 76 of the iconic Ozzy Osbourne. Mike DeRocco from ESPN, ESPN.com, coming up at the top of the hour. Laura Steele is going to join us at the bottom. And we also have on the show Mark Vandermeer before the end of this program today. Don't go anywhere. The AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
The sportos, motorheads, geeks, sluts, bloods, wastoids, dweebies, they all adore him. They think he's a righteous dude.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Ozzy Osbourne was 76, the most significant influence in heavy metal. And really a cultural icon already, but became even more, I think, of an influence with the younger generation as a part of the MTV show The Osbournes. Ozzy was 76 as he passed away earlier today. I mentioned this too. The Players Tribune has an article that is penned by Pacer backup guard T.J. McConnell. It was awful. It meant everything. Talking about the NBA Finals, Game 7, 7-minute mark of the first quarter. That's Tyrese Halliburton, his injury situation there. And just the Game 7 loss in general, losing the finals, having the season end that way. It was a spectacular season, but having it end that way. And what I most admire about T.J. McConnell that doesn't take place on the basketball floor, but certainly is a product as to why he is so tenacious on the floor and why you love him and why you want him as a part of this team, the pulse and the heartbeat of this team. And this is something that I've said the entirety of the time that has been met with a great deal, surprisingly enough, of opposition from those that are non-believers. In his own Players Tribune article, there is a quote from T.J. McConnell that states, "You'd think people would learn by now, but we're actually not done." That's exactly what I've been talking about the entirety of the time. I understand. Finals, Eastern Conference Finals, sure. But being a high-quality, competitive team is exactly what is meant in what he says in that quote and what I've been talking about the entire time. That is my belief until, as I like to say, further notice. And that is good stuff from T.J. McConnell. Can you imagine going back to last year? During the regular season, there were actually people sending me stuff saying the Pacers need a better backup point guard. It's time to send T.J. McConnell out of here. See, that's sometimes the type of level of dumbass that I have to deal with, is that. And that's why we have to point them out, we have to cite them, and we have to make fun of them. Nothing more ridiculous than that. True story. Calvin writes this. Here's another iconic musician that passed away on my watch. I remember you were doing a show when Eddie Van Halen passed away. And we celebrated, I think, the entirety of the first hour with Eddie Van Halen classics with Van Halen. I think that was that an October day? I think maybe 4 years ago, something like that, Calvin? Great recollection. Laura Steele is going to join us for the first time in a while. I think she's been on the show before when I've been down at Bullseye, but she's going to join us at 4:30. Mark Vandermeer, the voice of the Texans here, coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Duraco, AFC South. Chris Ballard met with the media. Chris Ballard still has a firm belief in Anthony Richardson, and I'm here to guess and speculate, but you kind of have to. Duraco and I discussed that, the Jaguars, and the rest of the AFC South. That's coming up next. The AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. Do not go anywhere. 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
A ride with JMV.
Ahoy, Ploy.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
No! This is Diary of a Madman, I think, right? Oh. Bark at the moon. R.I.P. to Ozzy. Chris Ballard with the media a little bit earlier today. We shall discuss. So you think if Duraco calls us, we can get that done? Is that the hope right here? So if I say 239-1070, somebody call right now and see if our phones are working. Because James can't call out. This is like a roll of the dice every day to see what the hell is going to work and what isn't. Duraco was on the inbound whenever James can get a adequate connection with him. Laura Steele coming up at the bottom of the hour. We haven't had Laura on in a while, but I did want to discuss a little bit about Ozzy, and obviously Laura does a lot of stuff for 13 and racing. Brickyard 400 coming up this weekend. And will be the hostess of the BullseyeEventGroup.com Colts VIP tailgate. Presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. That thing is going to be off the hook once again. It does not matter. And not 1 ounce does it matter what happens in the stadium. It does matter to you. I realize that. But your game day experience is going to be made. Look at that's some weird lines right there. Have you noticed that? Can you answer those that are calling right there? See if you can. That is awesome. I've never seen it. You can't even answer it?
Well, it sounded like someone was there, but I'm not sure what's going on.
There's Duraco calling right there. All right. Let's see if you guys are awesome. Thanks for helping us out here. You are helping us troubleshoot. Is he ready? On the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. We got to thank him for calling us today from ESPN and ESPN.com. Mike Duraco is in the house today as the Colts report and camps are underway, and we are right back into the NFL season all over again. Hello, Mike. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Well done for giving me a call like that. I appreciate it.
No problem. Yeah, it's probably my phone that was having the issues. I've had it doesn't want to go back to camp, I guess. My phone still wants to be on vacation. So I think that's what it is.
You view the AFC South, and this, I guess, includes the Texans, too, because there's been a bit of a change of pace there as well. Do you view the AFC South as wide open as everybody else does right now?
Yeah, to a degree, I suppose.
Okay.
I think there's I don't think the Titans are going to be factoring into that mix. But I do think the Jags and the Colts could make it definitely interesting for sure, depending on how, honestly, the quarterback situation at both places plays out. I do think the Texans are still probably the team to beat, but that offensive line's still a mess, and who knows what could happen if C.J. Stroud goes down. But I don't think that this is a division where the Texans are going to run away with it with 12, 13 wins. I think it's going to be another year where 10, maybe 11 wins the division.
So Mike Duraco of ESPN, ESPN.com, or .com, I should say, notably covers the Jaguars, but certainly the entirety of the AFC South. Chris Ballard met with the media up here a little bit earlier and, obviously was supporting Anthony Richardson, which is the only play to make right here. It's funny. So we have a fan base here that's kind of, how should I say, Steelers wheel. It's stuck in the middle with you, right? It's, hey, it'd be great if you'd have some success because they have seen and really soaked up the Pacers' success. It was great. But at the same time, they've wanted to move on from this regime for such a long period of time. Now, I think there's also okay with the team being as it has been. But, I mean, really, you have to prove it, I think, to get a fan base on board and believe it at this point in time, right? If you're the Colts, and you've got to kind of back up everybody until further notice.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, the grass isn't always greener. I will say that. Anyone who's followed the Jaguars will know that, you can want all the change in the world, and even when you get it, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be in a better place. Now, that being said, when you make the decision to pick Anthony Richardson, fourth overall, a guy who did not play a ton of college football, a guy who doesn't really know how to be a quarterback or didn't know how to be a quarterback, at the time, and was relying on athletic ability, which was off the charts. That's a risky move. It's just as risky as the Jaguars trading up and, to take Travis Hunter and play him both ways. And they essentially gave up quarterback premium to go ahead and move up and get him. So when you make those kind of big, bold moves, and risky moves, you got to live with the results. It's a gamble. And, they, might be at the point where this is it, do or die, this season, the first part of this year for Anthony Richardson. And if it doesn't work out, then maybe there will be that regime change. And you probably should, we would probably argue that it would be the best thing to do.
Well, it's funny. This is like an all or nothing thing, I think, right now. And what I mean by that, Mike, is it's like when you play the dime or the nickel slots or the penny slots or whatever. You're not. I don't think the risk is now. I think the risk has already long since been passed, and what you're looking out for is this kind of lightning bolt strike that would stir a little bit something around here. Because really, the fan base, the mediocrity combined with the lack of results, this is about as apathetic as I can remember this fan base this time of year to start an NFL season.
That's an awful place to be for a franchise. I mean, you need to either really be like ungodly bad, you know what I mean? Like disastrously bad, like the Jaguars were in 2021 with Urban Meyer, or you need to be in that perennial playoff team era. I mean, if not, then you have an apathetic fan base, and you know what an apathetic fan base doesn't do? They don't buy tickets. They don't come to the games. They don't buy merchandise. And if you live in that area too long, it's hard to get out. So I think, the Jaguars are pretty much existing in that era and in that area for the last, 8 of the last 10 years. And it's hard to get out. And to do it, you have to hit on the quarterback. And, the Colts thought they had, and we'll see it. I mean, I'm not writing Anthony Richardson off, but man, another year like last year or the year before, and then you're living in that no man's land of basically being irrelevant. And nothing is worse in the NFL than being irrelevant.
It's Mike Duraco. He's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. What is your thought on Daniel Jones? Because it has been said both of these quarterbacks will compete and they start even. However, I think a lot of us believe maybe Daniel Jones has a step up. And it's going to be interesting to see around here how that whole thing goes. I mean, really, every single throw is going to be dissected by everybody in Westfield over the course of this camp. But what do you think about the reclamation project hope that is Daniel Jones in the Colts uniform in year one here?
Well, I mean, I think we've seen it over the last several years that sometimes that change of scenery is really, really good for a guy. I mean, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Geno Smith. It can kind of help re-energize a guy as long as they're in that right situation. So I don't know if this is the right situation for Daniel Jones, but I do know he started a lot of games in the NFL, and he may not have the athletic ability and the amazing upside of Anthony Richardson, but he can be a solid, steady quarterback in the NFL, and sometimes that's better than gambling on all of that upside, especially if you're in the situation like the Colts are in a division that really is, they're in that second level. They're behind the Texans, but the Texans are one injury away or one or two bad games away from this division really and truly being open for 2 or 3 teams. So if you can get some solid quarterback play, I think the rest of the roster is in good enough shape for them to contend in the division. But if you're not getting that consistent quarterback play, I mean, it's just a mess. You just don't know what's going to happen. So, I don't think he's great, but I think if there's something to be said for knowing what you're going to get every week.
Do you know what you're going to get in Jacksonville at all right now? Are you just rolling the dice to see what the hell happens there?
No. Don't know what we're going to see out of this group here. Trevor Lawrence, is he going to stay healthy? Hasn't the last 2 years. Can he put together one full solid season where he plays at a really consistently high level? Yeah, hasn't done it yet either. End of 2022 and first part of 2023 he did a 17-game stretch, but I mean, that doesn't do you any good if it's not in a single season. Is the offensive line going to be any better? Will they be able to run the ball? Everybody seems to think that, Liam Cohen can automatically work the same kind of magic he did in Tampa here with taking the Bucks from, I think, last to fourth in rushing and having Baker Mayfield throw for a career high in passing yards and passing touchdowns. I mean, people just expect that to automatically happen, and that's not how things work in the NFL or in general either. So there's optimism here that things will be significantly better. And, the longer or the further away we get from last season, the more dysfunction is not the right word, because what happened in 2021 with Urban Meyer was dysfunction. That was at another level then. Last year, things just weren't right. There were a lot of things that went wrong. So the more we find out about the stuff that went wrong and the attitude and stuff that was going on around the building, which on a panic level was probably a level 3 or 4. But I mean, I still think sometimes when you move away from the dysfunction and you get somebody new, you can have a jolt, which is what happened to this franchise in 2022, but they weren't able to sustain it. So, if Trevor Lawrence can finally do all those things I talked about, then they've got a chance. If he can't, then he's going into 2026, and that truly, really is a make-or-break year for him here in Jacksonville.
He is Mike DeRocco with us. Liam Cohen, do you think he can unlock the higher level, and I mean the consistent higher level of Trevor Lawrence under center? You think that's a possibility? Do you foresee that at all? And how would that work? Just on the entry level fans that are out there, how would that work? And what's your expectation playing off of that, at least early on?
Yeah, let me just do it this way, because this was striking to me in talking to people inside the organization there. When they got here, meaning this staff with Liam Cohen and whatever, and they were watching Trevor Lawrence on film and stuff, and the one thing the footwork was just not there. It was not good. And that's the big priority. That was their big priority with him in the spring. Even when he had the shoulder, he couldn't do things, he's recovering from the shoulder surgery, couldn't throw. It was like, we need you to fix that footwork, because everything a quarterback does, evolves from the footwork. If your feet are in the right spot when they're supposed to be there, then you can make the throw you're supposed to make, and it's not off target. It's not all arm. You know what I mean? Obviously, all hell breaks loose on plays, 100%, and you have to improvise here and there at times. But you also, if you're in the right position and your body's in the right position, then you can make those throws and you can make things happen. And his footwork was just not where it needed to be for a guy in his fourth year. After talking to people after the spring, I've been told his footwork is, it's a 180, and his footwork is so much better. And that to me tells me that A, Cohen has a pretty strict plan for the kid, and B, Trevor is willing to put in the work and has made the significant strides needed. Now, the big question becomes, when all hell breaks loose on Sunday, does he revert back to the bad stuff, or does he stick with the training and stick with the things that he's been working on since Cohen got here and make that improvement? Because I think the offense itself is going to be a significant upgrade for everybody here in Jacksonville. But it's all incumbent on Trevor Lawrence making that leap. And from the standpoint of just what I talked about, that leads me to believe that there's at least a little bit of confidence level that Trevor can take the next step. But again, we got to see it on Sundays.
Yeah, speaking of unlocking here, Mike, is there a higher excitement level than usual with the Jaguars fan base in wanting to see the anticipation of Travis Hunter?
Yeah, the last time they were this excited for a player, it was when they were going to draft Trevor Lawrence, and it was like that was in 2020 when they realized they were drafting Trevor Lawrence. They were going to be in spot to get him. I mean, I haven't seen anything like that since I haven't seen anything like what we're seeing about Travis Hunter since then. And the fun thing is there's a big debate among the fans here about whether he's going to be more of a receiver or more of a corner. And then there's a significant number of people that think there's no way he's going to be able to play both sides of the ball to the extent that the Jaguars are telling everyone that he's going to. So there's a whole lot of mystery. How's he going to break down in practices? You know, is he going to spend a full practice on defense one day and a full practice on offense the next? How is he going to split his time in meetings once the season gets here? You know, is he going to basically take Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays off to rejuvenate his body after playing, 50 snaps on offense, another 50 on defense? Like, how is it all going to work? And I think that, to me, is the biggest part of my excitement in terms of covering Travis Hunter and them possibly having the first full-time or regular two-way player since Chuck Bednarik in the 60s, the early 60s.
Wow.
That, to me, is the most exciting part of it. It's like, how's it going to work from that standpoint? And, I can't wait for the season to get here. Unfortunately, we got to go through 6 weeks of camp to get there.
I would have to ask you, I don't even know if there is an exact answer here, but you've had so many incredible athletes enter the NFL. Why is he so consistently considered the one to be able to go both sides, as you just described, right? Because, I mean, we've had a lot of athletes, great athletes too, and nobody's done it significantly, and, we're thinking he may be able to do it. Why is he different in your estimation?
Well, he's got the track record of doing it at the Power 5 level. So there is that. It's one thing for him to do it at Jackson State, and then he ends up at Colorado, and then he does it for 2 years at Colorado. So there's at least you can point to something and say, hey, at a high level of competition, he was able to do it. Now, what allows him to do that is the fact that this guy may be the best conditioned athlete of the last 10 years. I mean, I've had multiple people inside that organization tell me that they are amazed and astounded at the fact that this kid does not get tired. He can run all day long, never gets tired, never slows down, and he still has the energy to dance in between drills and dance in between plays and have a good time. It's just, he's a freak of nature. People have called him a unicorn and all this other stuff. I mean, he is just a freak of nature to have the athletic ability, the conditioning, the lung capacity, the physical, the ability to physically withstand the punishment that does to the body playing both ways. Now, I'll say this, he is a corner and a receiver. So there are a lot of plays where those guys don't get contact. Do they have to run? Absolutely. But it's not like he's an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman, which is getting contact on every single play. So there is that little bit of wiggle room for him to kind of sustain the level of conditioning and not take the kind of beating that he might otherwise take at another position. But still, to be able to do it at this level on a regular basis is something that, like I said, we haven't seen since I think 1962 was the last year Bednarik did it, and I think we all know the league was a hugely different place back then than it is now.
Bit. Yeah,
just a little bit. Yeah.
Hey, Mike, in closing, you a Ozzy Osbourne fan?
A little bit, yeah. The crazy train has left the station today.
It is, yeah. Now, would you more note it the music of Black Sabbath? Ozzy being just Ozzy Osbourne on his own and obviously introducing us to a host of other talents around him, or from the MTV show The Osbournes?
No, I would know him more from the music. I was not an MTV Osbournes guy. Like my generation, here's the old guy right here. Like I actually remember when MTV played music videos.
Yes, exactly.
Nothing but music videos. So yeah, I know Ozzy more from the Black Sabbath and the music than watching the Osbournes on MTV.
Well done. We're going to keep pace with you over the course of camp and then into the season, and we can't thank you enough, as always, for coming on the show, Mike, and we'll do it again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot. Good luck.
Mike DeRocco of ESPN and ESPN.com on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Look who is in studio right now. He has pulled up to the mic. What do they say? Not sliding into your DMs. He has slid into our studio. It's Evan Sherrill is here right now from Cluster Truck. It's been a week. Almost forgot what you look like.
It has been a week. Actually, in that period, I saw the We Grow Hair Indie commercial with you in it.
Yes, you did.
Prior to transformation. So I was forgetting what you look like currently, So
that was like a combination platter
I like
of
it.
fat and bald guy.
You look good no matter how you slice it.
I'm trying to turn back the clock right here. I don't know. Like it's like Cocoon. You ever see the movie Cocoon where I think it was Wilford Brimley who ultimately is no longer with us. You never get old and you never die, something like that. So not that I'm going to be around forever. Even when I am gone, I will come back and haunt with this. So I say that all the time with people that say, I can't wait until you're gone out of that chair. And I said, hey, even when I'm dead, I'm going to come back here and haunt your ass. So don't worry about that. But, the transformation continues to move forward, much like that of Cluster Truck at clustertruck.com. I'm telling you, the excitement abounds, as always, for people that certainly do not want to have to cook every single night and like a great night out in which it's delivered directly to you and you can stay in.
Absolutely. No, yeah, you nailed the hammer on the head. Cluster Truck rolls on, and I mean, we're just happy to be here and deliver to you guys.
$25 off, or I should say $5 off a $25 order or more at clustertruck.com by using the promo code FAN. What do we got in the bag there, brother?
Yep, we've got salmon and roasted veggies, of course.
Yes, the salmon.
Switch
Thank
things
you.
up for
What'd you guys
James.
do last week without getting me the salmon? Did somebody else get the salmon last week?
No, Greg got a burrito.
Okay.
Whatever the normal burrito he always gets.
Okay. I was going to say I was actually on vacation last week.
Okay.
One of our drivers, Tony Basil, did the drop for me.
Tony
Shout out to
Basil,
him.
like they did Mickey, the song Mickey? Oh, Mickey, that's Tony Basil.
Oh, yes.
Are they the same name?
His name is Anthony, but he goes by Tony Basil. So
Tony
last
Basil,
name is Basil.
Tony Basil. How do you spell it? Basil?
Yeah, I think just like the plant.
See, Tony Basil is the artist that did the song Mickey.
I just realized that the last week, and I was like, is this guy messing with me?
Hey, James,
Tony,
let's give a shout out to, give me some Tony Basil here and shout out to Anthony Basil, who goes by Tony Basil, not Basil.
Yep.
And he works at Cluster Truck.
Yeah, he's one of our drivers. He does a lot of events for us as well. So, if you see us out at Nights on Lockerbie, I'm blanking on other events, Chicken and Beer Fest, any of the other events. He's typically there for us.
Tony Basil, but not Basil is his name.
Correct. But yeah, so maybe a burrito, maybe a burrito for Lake Straw, lazy burrito or whatever. But today for James, orange chicken, egg rolls. Yeah, switch things up a little bit.
Orange chicken.
I love our orange chicken. Yeah, very good.
I'm down.
Very, very good. And our egg rolls are fire too. House-made sweet chili sauce on the side. So
I love the salmon. I never get tired of the salmon.
I'm happy to hear that. I'm always wondering.
What ounce of salmon is it?
I think it's an 8-ounce fillet.
James, can you look up an 8-ounce salmon? Look, 8-ounce salmon fillet, calories and protein involved in an 8-ounce salmon fillet? Because that's what I look at right there: calories and protein. Except when I'm drinking alcohol, and I don't. Yeah, I mean I do care about calories. Yes, James, what we got?
An 8-ounce salmon fillet typically contains approximately 331 to 388 calories, depending on cooking method and all that stuff. Protein ranges from 40 to 50 grams.
Whoa, man.
That's solid.
See, I'm cashing that in right there. Holy crap.
I just confirmed 6-ounce fillet.
6-ounce fillet.
So less calories.
So probably 250 calories, but what do you got on that, the 6-ounce for James?
260 to 268 on calories, 35 to 38 grams of protein.
That's solid.
That's magical right there.
Yeah, that's solid.
Man, no wonder. No wonder I lost 4 pounds last month.
Very nice.
I didn't know it. ClusterTruck.com. Evan is in studio. Again, $5 off a $25 order or more. Tell them all about it in closing here. And I see you have Live Golf Indianapolis on the side of it, too.
I was hoping you'd mention that.
Yes.
So, yes, use code FAN. We also have a new code for if you've used code FAN, you can now use code CTFAN, all one word. It's the same deal, $5 off 25 or more. ClusterTruck.com, download the app. And yes, we have a new partnership with Live Golf Indianapolis. So check out our Instagram tomorrow. We'll be giving away 5 pairs of tickets to the Saturday at the Live Golf Tournament.
Chatham Hills, where I have somebody up there that actually lives on the course and wants me to do a live show in their backyard.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, I will be there on Saturday, and probably Sunday. So maybe we'll see you out there.
Do you like the Live golfers? Do you like the Live Tour?
I like Brooks a lot. I do like Brooks Koepka a lot. And Phil's a lefty. I'm a lefty on the, so I'm a fan of that.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I'm excited for them to come, and I'm just happy to, be working with them in any capacity for Cluster Truck.
Devin, thank you very much. ClusterTruck.com. Again, the promo code FAN. That's $5 off a $25 order or more. And try the 6-ounce salmon. 260 calories and about 30 grams of protein in that bad boy. That's going to do you up right.
Can't beat it.
Thank you,
guys,
Evan.
very much.
Evan Sherrill's in studio. We'll take a break, and Laura Steele's going to join us on the other side. Mark Vandermeer at 5 o'clock. Now, we'll say this, because of Beyond the Bricks and the Fever later on tonight against the New York Liberty, we're 15 minutes prior to 6 o'clock. So 5:45 is going to be our bailing mark today. 5:45, but I'll work in a ton of stuff for you until that point. Laura Steele on the other side, the AAA Membership Lounge. That's YouTube Live and 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
is the Bet365 Command Center. Get your race updates here all month long and make sure to enter for your chance to win $500 by predicting the winner of this year's race on July 27th. Go to 1075thefan.com to enter. Now, here's your 2025 race update brought to you by Bet365.
Got a fast weekend on the inbound, including Sunday's Brickyard 400. Joey Logano on the show yesterday, 11th in points. Team Penske. The winner in Dover over the weekend was Denny Hamlin. We've got your coverage all the way through in what is going to be a fast weekend with the Brickyard 400. Enjoy.
The Ride with JMV.
If anybody needed a victory, get the off the racetrack! You stupid son of a. I think we have to start again.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Love you, R. Always. Ozzy Osbourne passed away earlier today at the age of 76, the heavy metal music icon. Laura Steele in just a second. Laura, hang tight because Jeff Boggs is in studio too. Jeff Boggs, on loan from the Hammer and Nigel show across the hall on 93 WIBC, is a former writer for Letterman, and you were on the couch once upon a time. Not in a romantic way
right.
with Ozzy, but on the couch for Letterman, correct?
No, it wasn't for Dave. It was after Dave.
You were just on a random couch.
It wasn't a random couch.
Okay.
We were doing a show out in L.A. called Osbourne's Reloaded.
Okay.
And it was a one-off for Fox. And Ozzy, we were doing a Golden Girls bit, a bit about the Golden Girls. And so Ozzy, we were trying to explain to Ozzy, here's what we're doing. Let's you see the show. And he sat in my office on my couch next to me.
Yeah.
And I pop in the VCR. This is how long ago, the VHS tape.
Sure.
And an episode of the Golden Girls comes up. And I go, let's just watch this. And Ozzy watches about 10 seconds of it. And then he looks at me and he goes, oh, you did this. And I go, oh, no, I didn't do the Golden Girls. This is the bit that Sharon told you we're going to be shooting today. And he goes, and then we watch 10 more seconds. And he goes, so you did this? You wrote this show? And I go, not the Golden Girls. And then everything went to crap after that. So,
really?
So we ended up not doing the bit. Jack thankfully came in, tried to sell his dad on it, and he goes, but who did it? And we were like, forget it. Moving on. So Ozzy was a sweet dude. I've been over to their house, their big, the MTV house.
Yeah.
And one time we were just sitting there. I was talking to Jack. They were doing a show about Jack and Ozzy were going to travel the country. And they ended up doing 3 years of that show. We were setting that show up. And in the middle of the meeting, Ozzy walks through their living room dripping wet in a Speedo. And he just walks past and he's dripping everywhere. And Jack goes, Dad, say hi. And he goes, ah! And he kept walking. So those were my two big
That's good,
interactions.
man.
But I noticed that they were very sweet to each other.
Yeah.
As much as they go after each other, they really were. It was a family.
With Black Sabbath and certainly early Ozzy, you would have never, ever thought that. Jeff Boggs in studio, the former writer for the David Letterman show. Let's bring on board friend of the show, iconic personality here locally in her own right. The awesome Laura Steele is with us on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Hello, Laura.
Hi, guys. Hold up. You're telling me, Jeff, that you watched The Golden Girls with Ozzy Osbourne?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. It doesn't make sense,
You may be
does
the
it?
only one right there that's ever done that.
In what world does that happen? That's pretty epic, my friend. You've always got that.
Laura, I got to tell you, there are some moments that still don't make sense for me. That was one of it. And I would have brought it up when you and I were just talking 20 minutes ago on the Hammer and Nigel show, but Nigel was too busy blabbering. He just doesn't let anyone.
Right, what's Nigel blabbering about?
He just keeps talking. He doesn't let anyone get a word in.
Well, that's what we do in radio, right, JMV?
Yes, we do. No, I just let everybody else talk, and I sit here and read the internet the entire time. That's what happens here.
He's popping into somebody's DM.
I'm gonna slide into somebody's DMs.
Who
did? Slide it in. A musical voice for eras here with Laura Steele. Ozzy Osbourne means to you? Where do we start?
Well, you were talking about the Golden Girls. I've got an Ozzy story.
Okay.
It would have been probably Deer Creek. I saw Ozzy at Deer Creek, and somehow my friend Heidi and I weaseled our way up to the front row. And it was a very hot night, and Ozzy had buckets of water. I'm not sure what that was all about, but apparently it was something that he did at shows where he had buckets of water. He would take the buckets of water and he would dump it on his head at shows. I don't know if anybody listening remembers that or saw that. Well, he decided to dump a bucket of water on our heads. And at that time, we had purses, and my friend had all of her bills in it with stamps, and her mail got ruined, but we felt like we were pretty much baptized by Ozzy. So it was all good. It was all good. Yeah, he dumped a bucket of water on us in the front row at Deer Creek. So that's my...
Was that an Ozfest, maybe?
It was an Ozfest show.
Okay.
Yeah,
this doesn't happen to John and I. This wouldn't. If you and I went to an Ozzy concert, we're not getting up to the front row, and Ozzy's not. We're just pushed out of there. I have a feeling there were other things at play here.
It could have been. Could have been. Like a wet T-shirt contest.
Just overall, none of this good
I'm
stuff.
never around for the wet T-shirt contest. What the hell? Why is that?
I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just guessing that he saw a couple of girls in the front row and decided to just pick a little fun with it, have some fun, right?
That is a hell of a time. How many, in guesstimation here, you doing rock radio for so long, how many times did you talk up or back announce an Ozzy song, do you recollect, Laura?
Thousands, probably.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I would say close to that. Yeah, quite a bit. I mean, I've been in classic rock radio for 3 decades, so it's safe to say with Black Sabbath and, Paranoid, talking up. Paranoid's not one you would really talk up, though, JMV.
Right.
It's a little loud.
Well, you're not allowed to talk up stuff in rock radio, though, are you? I guess you kind of are now.
You got to pick and choose. You got to respect. You got to respect the music. I tend to not like to people are there for the music. Maybe a little bit, maybe bump it up a little bit. I don't mind it. I hear you do it on Saturday night.
I'm tight as hell.
I love it.
Yes, I am tight.
The post. You are hitting the post.
I'm a post hitter. Well, listen, I can't report back to Mark Patrick in Nicaragua if I don't hit the post every time. Okay. I can't. I mean, as a member of the family of Nicaragua, I've got to hit the post every time.
Okay, that's pretty funny. Yeah, it's been a sad day. I will say that I've gotten more phone calls. We hear about these stories of people we love, we know, and we've listened to their music for years. And especially when we're up at that point in age, we're not Ozzy age, but it's a sad time. It's an end of an era. Ozzy had bunch of different eras. If you think about Ozzy with Black Sabbath, Ozzy solo, Ozzy with his television show. There have been an Ozfest as well. That was part of his career. But when we hear about these things and all the stuff under the belt of Ozzy Osbourne, if you will, it's just really an epic loss. He was one of a kind. He was very funny. And it was probably because, he didn't get things sometimes. He was dyslexic. So he went from being a dyslexic child to dealing with a lot of health issues, some brought on by himself with the ATV. I think he was in an ATV accident or a bad accident that put him in a coma. He's had Parkinson's. He's dealt with a lot of issues health-wise, and it really it felt like it kind of came to fruition in the last couple of years. I mean, he flat out would talk about, I'm miserable. I feel terrible. This is no way to live. He did not like the way he felt, and who would if you felt crummy? I mean, you don't want to live. So that brings us to today, and a couple weeks ago as well, with this farewell show with Black Sabbath. What does this all mean? I don't know if they knew he was sick. I don't know if he said, this is it for me. I don't know the dynamics. Have we found out yet what may have happened? Have we heard anything?
I mean, I think they just kind of attribute that to the effects of Parkinson's and what he was dealing with right there. And people had wondered, I think, what was it, 2-3 weeks ago, Jeff, where they did the tribute show for him over in Birmingham, England, and you wondered why there wasn't anything significant from him. But
he was, like you said, he was sick for a while, so you don't know. And the immediacy of right now, I think that's what's shocking all of us, but definitely didn't come out of nowhere.
It's Laura Steele.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Laura Steele's with us on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Jeff Boggs in studio with us as well. Laura, you mentioned the iconic passing, and I rank Ozzy right up there with Bowie, with Prince, with Petty, with Michael Jackson, with absolutely everybody. Kurt Cobain, because I thought heavy metal music, began with him. You would know better than I would because you have been around it and at the top of your game for such a long time in radio. Did Ozzy, was he the one that started what we know now as heavy metal?
I would say that began with Black Sabbath as in part with some other bands, but that definitely was kind of the beginning of it. And just, I mean, it's amazing to still to this day to hear that, and it still rocks. But you go back in time and think about Paranoid and all these songs that Black Sabbath came out with, and I would say that crunchy, really super crunchy rock that's not really annoying. Like some of the rock that can be really heavy can kind of be like, oh gosh, you know, it almost sounds dangerous to listen to it. They were kind of a little bit more palatable, and I thought in that for me, because I'm not like a heavy rocker. I'm a classic rocker.
Yeah.
But I would say that Black Sabbath was definitely, you can attribute that to the beginning of heavy metal, and just an amazing career that he had, and really one of the few in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice. He was inducted with Black Sabbath.
Oh, wow.
He was inducted as a solo artist, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he's in there twice, I'm pretty sure. Did you know, JMV, what his birth name was? Or, well, birth name, he ended up with a nickname, but do you know what his name is? Oh, you should know. You should know.
Go ahead. Tell me.
John Michael Osbourne.
Boom.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Well,
he was born John Michael Osbourne. I think that y'all may be related.
We might be.
That's got to be your
I
Halloween
don't know
costume
what,
this year.
hell,
That's awesome.
Listen, I still don't to this day know what the hell my dad was doing prior to everything, so who the hell knows?
All that matters is that you're here. All that matters is that you are here. But yeah, we really have a big loss here, and I think he was endearing, you know, on the Osbourne show. We just kind of learned to get, you know, into his life and what he had dealt with, and I just saw an interview, I can't remember exactly when it was released, but it was really quite sad, where he was talking about, you know, what he had been through and how he had been through so much on the medical side of things. And he even has a book out called Trust Me, I'm Dr. Ozzy, about all the things that he's been through. He even bit the head off a bat. We all know that.
He snorted a lot of ants, too, I believe, didn't he?
He snorted ants. That's right. He snorted ants and lived to talk about it.
Yeah.
And wrote a book about it, and now we have to kind of just say that he's a legend that lived and brought us great music, and that's a beautiful thing, JMV, and I know you know this. You have such a great respect for music, and I respect you for that. But the music lives on. We lose these rockers,
no doubt,
but we still have Tom Petty songs, and when Mary Jane's Last Dance comes on, or when, you know, Crazy Train from Ozzy comes on, and these songs that are so iconic, thank you to those rockers who left us with these songs that live on.
Laura Steele, we're going to see her a lot, the hostess, which is awesome, inside the Bullseye Event Center with bullseyeeventgroup.com. Our good friend Kyle Kinnett has the best pregame party anywhere. Laura, I cannot wait to see you there. It is always fantastic to hear your voice. I'm doing a live JMV takeover at the State Fair. If you want to slide into my DMs out there and maybe do a couple of segments or something with me, you're more than welcome to. On the 9th of August.
Hold on, I'm writing it down. 9th of August.
Yeah, in the tap room out there. The tap room, the 9th of August.
I would love to come see you. You know, I'm moving my my teenager into IU soon.
Yes.
So I've kind of been lightening my workload and haven't been doing a whole lot. But boy, once she's off to IU, party is on in September.
You got it. Well, I'll let you know,
but
Laura.
I'll see you in August.
Thanks for hopping on today, too.
Absolutely. Jeff, you've got that story forever. Jeff, Ozzy, and the Golden Girls.
There you go.
That's nice.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, Laura. Laura Steele's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Jeff's going to hop back over because there's no way. It's a rudderless ship over there right now.
Nigel has no clue what he's doing.
Hopefully Allison has jumped in because Nigel's all over the map, I guarantee you.
Allison's the only reason that show is staying on the air right now.
Boggs, man, I appreciate you, brother.
Thanks, John.
Jeff Boggs in studio with us. Quick break, we'll come back. Mark Vandermeer, the voice of the Texans at the top of the hour. Nick Cross, the Colts safety on this show tomorrow. Don't go anywhere. AAA Membership Lounge, YouTube Live, 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
I am the cream, yeah. The cream of the crop. And there is no one that does it better.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Now we're celebrating the catalog of Ozzy Osbourne, whether it's Black Sabbath or Ozzy himself. The legend passed away today at the age of 76. Greg Rakestraw a little bit earlier. He was on a boat in the Arctic Sea, I believe, was he not? Off of Iceland? Seriously, Greg Rakestraw calls in from Iceland a little bit earlier. That podcast at 1075thefan.com. So, yeah, I kind of joked. I said, so you got to do a high school game later on tonight. You're going to fly home and then do a high school game and then go back to Reykjavik. But Greg was awesome to call in from Iceland, along with his incredible wife. Happy birthday to Amy Rakestraw. And Mike DeRocco a little bit earlier from ESPN on ESPN.com. The Colts actually reported today. Chris Ballard met with the media earlier today. And with that, Nick Cross joins me on the show, the Colts safety. That is coming up tomorrow, the first day of gathering for practice tomorrow at Grand Park in Westfield. I've got a couple of dates up there as well. Those are the night gatherings we'll be up there for in the afternoon. But I know that the morning show with James and Kevin will be up there coming up again tomorrow. I think I'll have to check again the schedule. I know Todd sent that out a little bit earlier. But you can expect Jake to be up there a lot. We will have a significant presence at Grand Park in Westfield throughout the course of Colts camp, so expect that. The latest on the Texans within the AFC South, their voice, Mark Vandermeer, is going to join us coming up at the 5 o'clock hour. And I did want to thank Jeff Boggs on loan from Hammer and Nigel across the hall at 93 WIBC, the former writer for the David Letterman Show, and the legendarily awesome Laura Steele, who joined us also a little bit earlier. The podcast at 1075thefan.com. Laura is going to be the hostess of the bullseyeeventgroup.com Colts VIP tailgate once again all season long before every Colts home game. Make sure you have your passes because that makes your game day experience with bullseyeeventgroup.com. And just like seeing Laura also makes your game day experience. And our good friend DJ Skids will be providing the music and the entertainment there as well. And I did mention this before I hit a break. The tap room at the Indiana State Fair on August the 9th will be the live show location of the JMV Takeover. So, yeah, Mystic Waters Campground coming up on our Labor Day weekend bender. That's with Brent Halverson. That's a live show. But before that, we are going to be at the tap room for the JMV Takeover live at the Indiana State Fair coming up on August the 9th. Skids is on board. Laura's on board. I want to see all of you out there with us at the Indiana State Fair for the JMV Takeover August the 9th. Again, quick break. We'll come back to Fever later on tonight. They're in New York to restart the second half. We hit that and a lot more. And the words of TJ McConnell about what you should expect as a Pacer fan this coming season. That and more coming up after 5. It's 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
2, 3, let's go out to the ball game. Let's go out to the room. Take me in, nothing new. I don't remember what I have to do. And I've gone out of the garden. Two, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
The late Ozzy Osbourne, and you hear his wife Sharon right there. Once upon a time, maybe the most, I'm not going to call that infamous, the most famous of the renditions of Take Me Out to the Ball Game at Wrigley Field.
I think that's the best version of it ever
I do
done,
too. That's
honestly.
awesome. Ozzy Osbourne passed away at the age of 76 a little bit earlier today. We have been celebrating the iconic catalog for basically the guy that started, the godfather, if you will, of heavy metal. As significant as anybody in music was Ozzy Osbourne. And Ozzy passed away earlier today at the age of 76. Laura Steele joined us last hour. Laura, great to have her back on the show. Our good friend Jeff Boggs, who once upon a time was couch-ridden with Ozzy, with a great story about the Golden Girls a little bit earlier to the former writer for the Letterman show, Jeff. And also Mike DeRocco of ESPN and Greg Rakestraw live from Iceland a little bit earlier. Podcast with everybody. 107.5 thefan.com. Chris Ballard met with the media a little bit earlier today, says no one so far is going on PUP, and Anthony Richardson has no restrictions other than volume, according to Stephen Holder, during the initial days. And this is something we discussed a little bit earlier, meaning he will be including in all drills and activities. This is according to Steven here. They're just managing the number of throws at the outset to make sure. That's different than him being held out of entire portions of practice, taking days off, etc. And I know you're automatically saying, all right, Colts, whatever. When you have to go into that full detail, I know there are a lot of people who are going, well, those sounds like restrictions to me. And that's Chris Ballard earlier today. Ballard continued, quote, there's no question it's complicated. I know the mental reps, yes, but it's physical reps, practice reps, all that stuff. When you miss it, it delays the timeline a little bit. All in all, a good window into the complexity of the situation. I think we need to give Anthony every chance to be the best he could be. And I think he can be really good, but things got to come together. It's Chris Ballard regarding Richardson continued. It was Ballard who first indicated that the team needed to bring in competition for Richardson. But today, Ballard preached patience, which none of you want to hear. Do you think people regret Baker Mayfield's timeline, Sam Darnold's? There's a Ballard earlier today. Listen, you can spark all the conversation, all the dialogue that you want. Nothing that Chris says is going to matter. Nothing. Everybody is going to look down upon any of this. Well, you got to wait and then patience and, look at Baker Mayfield and make these comparisons with Sam Darnold. But the problem remains is you have to see it to believe it. And it's not just a time here or there. I mean, consistently see it to believe it. So I do realize that none of that matters to you. I think really when you look back on it, it was something you have to say and it's something that you expect him to say. But beyond that, and I mean, you've seen flashes before, but to honestly believe it, and there's so many dynamics at work here. I mean, we just think about the inefficiency of the past, the inefficiency, the lack of availability. All that has to undergo just a dramatic change. That's the way that is. Jason writes this: I was just in Iceland 2 weeks ago with 18 members in my family. It is crazy to have 24 hours of daylight. My advice, visit the Into the Glacier experience. I did hit a glacier once upon a time in Alaska, which was, I didn't go inside. You guys went inside it. I didn't do that. Water's pretty cool. JMV, by far, as a Cubs fan, that was my favorite rendition of Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Was that of Ozzy Osbourne right there. Yeah, Skivvies, I agree. JMV, I bet if you mix and match clips of Chris Ballard at camp, you will not be able to tell which year you're talking about. And with a lot of situations. Now, with Richardson, you can because we're only talking about 3 years. But with a lot of these situations, there is certainly a similar dialogue. J-Law writes, this great segment is always learning some new music facts with Laura Steele. Today is another day the music died a bit. Let's cherish our memories of music and celebrate a life well lived. That is what we do with the JMV Takeover every Saturday night. With those artists that we've loved and we have unfortunately lost, the music will live on, and music that we love. It doesn't matter what type of mood you're in. Normally, you're going to find something that's going to make you feel good. All right, Mark Vandermeer is going to join us coming up on the other side, the voice of the Houston Texans. Again, I am bailing at 5:45, and a lot of this is because of Beyond the Bricks. And then the Fever coming up later on tonight. That tip time without Caitlin Clark in New York, in Brooklyn, in fact, against the Liberty. 8 o'clock, 7:45. Eddie Garrison has your coverage right here on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan later on this evening. Nick Cross joins us on the show tomorrow. The Harrah's Hoosier Park race of the day. Later on today, 50 in betting, 50 in dining from Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino in Anderson. It's coming up before the end of the show. Don't go anywhere. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
Ride with JMV.
But I'm a genetic freak, and I'm not normal.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
R.I.P. to Ozzy, who passed away earlier today at the age of 76. For all of you that ever attended an Oz Fest, it's for you. Iconic, to say the least. Yeah, around here, the NFL season is officially underway as the Colts reports. Camp is underway coming up tomorrow. Nick Cross, Colts safety, joins us on the show at some point during the afternoon tomorrow. But right now, the South winner a year ago, and a lot of people selecting them to do so once again this season. The voice of the Houston Texans, Mark Vandermeer, talks about that squad and then some within the South as he joins us now, the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Hey, welcome back to an NFL season. Mark, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. You know, it's such a great time, right? The offseason is finally over. All the talk. Now, we're still going to talk for a few more weeks here, right?
Yes.
But at least we have some practice with not that OTA vibe where it's all dressed up and no place to go. We're going places now. We're ramping up to the games.
I'm curious. This is the entirety of just fans in general in the Houston area, I should say, with this era of sports, whether I know the Rockets were disappointing in the postseason, but they had a really nice year, and there are expectations through the roof going into next year. The Astros doing what really they normally do, and then you compound that with the Texans. Where is this compared to eras of the past with the overall effect of winning that's having on that fan base there?
Well, I wasn't around for the Oilers, and the Astros are putting together a run that this city has never seen. You know, this is ridiculous what they're doing. In fact, I don't know if people truly appreciate it. Now, their diehard fans will say, yes, we do, but this is ridiculous. If you had this happening in New York or Boston, they'd be making movies and writing songs about it. 4 World Series appearances, 2 World Series wins, all the postseasons. I mean, it's incredible. But it's still a football town, because if the Texans were doing that, it would be absolutely bonkers. And I think that there's no question that as camp begins, all the talk is going to be Texans here until the Astros get to the postseason. You know, obviously some Astros sprinkled in, but it's a football town. People are obsessed with it. And here's how you know. How angry are they when you lose? It's not how happy they are when you win. It's when you lose. Are they upset? Are they disappointed? Are they angry? Are they calling the stations? If the Astros would check out and just go on a big drought for the next few years, people would be disappointed, but it wouldn't be this bitterness that happens when your football team's not doing well, like this team didn't do well in 2020, 21, and 22. But here we are. They're in a good spot, and I think they're going to do well this year.
What's amazing, too, and this is a comment about the Astros, is they've had significant change from those title teams that you're talking about right there. And you know, the whole winning thing can have 5-game advantage as of right now, 58-game winner as of right now. It has been an amazing run in cultivating talent in that category, without a doubt there.
Oh, yeah. They've definitely flipped it, and the good franchises in any sport are able to do that, right? You look at the NFL, and I know we look at the Chiefs and say, oh, Mahomes, but look how different the team is from 2018, 2019 to the way it is now. 2019, the Texans lost to the Chiefs in the playoffs, and they lost to them this past season in the playoffs in the divisional round again. But that Chiefs team from 2019 is a completely different squad, except for Kelsey and Mahomes and maybe a couple of other guys, Chris Jones, one of them. But you look at how rosters change over on these perennial powers. They're able to reload around the quarterback, around the top talent on the team, and that's what the Texans hope to do, because before you know it, they're going to need to do it here, and you know, I'm hoping they're in a position where they can do it well.
Well, Mark Vandermeer is the voice of the Texans on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. So before things officially get started for you, give me the new face, because there have been old faces that have exited, but new exciting faces are coming in. What most excites you? What individual does, at least on the surface, before things officially get underway with Houston?
I think it's a great question. Nick Chubb is the biggest name they've acquired, but we don't know how good he's really going to be. And Joe Mixon was banged up in the offseason, so what's his availability going to be? We'll all find out when camp gets started. I'm excited about the receivers. I'm excited about Christian Kirk. I think he'll be a good addition to this team. You know, last year everybody was so pumped up about Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell and Nico Collins being in that group together, and rightfully so. But the way it played out, Dell got hurt in December, and he was hurt at other times. Nico missed 5 games along the way, and Diggs only played less than half the season. So it didn't work out the way they wanted. Now they've got a group with these guys they've drafted with Jaden Higgins and Jalen Knoll, along with Kirk and the others they have. I think this could be a really exciting group. Justin Watson from the Chiefs, they got him. Don't sleep on him either. I mean, he's not going to catch 50 balls even maybe, but he's going to make big plays and play on special teams, unless he is replaced by some upstart guy, and we'll see how that all goes because it's camp, and jobs are up for grabs. I know you have, and on this team, and this is the way they set it up. They set it up where a veteran should win the job, but he could be replaced by a rookie like Kamari Lassiter did at corner last year for them and turns into this Pro Bowl caliber player for them opposite Derek Stingley Jr. So we'll see if they've acquired the right talent this year.
Well, I can tell you this, with Nico Collins, I think with the attention that he gets defensively, that automatically can make other guys that maybe have not produced at that level ever coming into the league, or maybe has been more of a supporting role player someplace else, can up their game. And it's Mark Vandermeer, the voice of the Texans on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. How are you looking at that revamped left side of the offensive line to start?
Well, I'll let you know because I think a lot of different things can happen there. The likeliest thing is Cam Robinson starts at left tackle and you go Laken Tomlinson at guard over there. But we don't know. They could switch things around. It looked like Titus was playing more at right guard during the offseason practices. Right tackle was Blake Fisher, second year out of Notre Dame. Center either Jake Andrews or Patterson. So you don't know what they're going to do. They have a lot of different possibilities. I can imagine 1, 5 or the other and build a case for each one, which is like saying if you have 2 quarterbacks, you might not have one. I get it, but I think they have enough there where they can come up with a 5 that's going to be good enough as long as they stay healthy.
Yeah, C.J. Stroud always is going to be the straw that stirs here, too. Where do you start with him? Like here, it's like a different set of circumstances. Wondering about Anthony Richardson going into year number 3. Obviously, how you feel about Stroud with another year under his belt to become that veteran leader where the expectations are at a higher level now.
I think there's no question he is him. He had a year last year. A lot of people call it a sophomore slump, whatever. The production wasn't the same as his rookie year, and by and large because they weren't protecting him well, and some of that is on the quarterback. But I think Stroud is the kind of guy who's smart enough to mature as a player, grow, get better. Let's face it, they all have to get better. All the quarterbacks, all the players have to get better. If you're not getting better, you're getting worse, and that means you're going to be out of this league soon. Quarterbacks have to continually try to improve, and he does that. He's still, as we speak, only 23 years old, which is amazing. So he has a great head on his shoulders. Smart kid. I think this offense with Nick Caley as the new coordinator, it's going to have a lot more autonomy at the line, and Stroud is the kind of quarterback that can benefit from that can take advantage of that. So I'm eager to see what he produces.
All right, defensively, and this is just me in closing here, Mark, doing the eyeball test. I look at the defense, and this looks like a great deal of depth to start camp to me. Is that accurate? Is that a good assessment eyeball-wise?
Yeah, I think they could be deeper in the secondary, but they have frontline players who are just all out great. They have Derek Stingley Jr. is probably the best cornerback in the league. The safeties look good. I mean, you add C.J. Gardner-Johnson to the mix and Kellen Bullock, who had a really good rookie year, ready for year 2. I mentioned Lassiter. I think that secondary is potentially all world. We'll see how it plays out. But I think defensively as a whole, this is a defense you can win a Super Bowl with if your offense is playing at a high enough level. And that's the big if with this team. A lot of teams have ifs. That's the if with the Texans. Can their offense be consistently good running the football, taking the heat off Stroud, allowing the defense to help them win the game, which was what happened in the playoff game against the Chargers. That game was really close through 3 quarters, and the defense helped them blow it open, and the offense was able to take advantage of some things down the stretch as well. They have to be like that in a lot of these big games because the schedule's very tough.
Yeah, Houston's got things moving right now. Get a little Kevin Durant coming up once the NBA season is underway. I guess not too far up the road. Get the Arch Manning experience at Texas. I mean, what the hell's going on around there in Texas right now? It's amazing.
It's fun. It's a good time to be here, but we all know what it's all about, football and NFL football especially. So it's going to be exciting. And I'm not I will never overlook the Colts. You never know what they're able to put together. They have a lot of pieces there. If they avoid turnovers and things like that, they could be in a lot of these games, go 9-8 or better.
Mark, it's a pleasure always to talk with you. We will do it again soon. Enjoy camp when things get officially underway, and we'll catch you up here not too far down the road. But have a great camp with the Texans.
You too. Thanks, JMB.
You got
Appreciate
it. Mark Vandermeer is on the Andy Moore Automotive Group pile line. Man, there's a lot going on with those Houston teams right now. Texans, again, picked to win the AFC South. Without question. Yeah, check out that roster and see what you think. Hey, we'll do that at a later date. Right now, we have to do the Harrah's Hoosier Park race of the day. 50 in betting, 50 in dining to the winner. Here it is on a Tuesday, your Harrah's Hoosier Park race of the day.
the Bet365 Command Center. Get your race updates here all month long and make sure to enter for your chance to win $500 by predicting the winner of this year's race on July 27th. Go to 1075thefan.com to enter. Now, here's your 2025 race update brought to you by Bet365.
Oh, yeah, we continue to remind you of a weekend that is coming up here. From certainly the Truck Series out at Lucas Oil Raceway to the Xfinity and the Cup Series. Coming up, the Cup Series on Sunday, too. Friend of the show, Joey Logano, yesterday of Penske. He was on the show, 11th in points. Winner at Dover over the weekend was that of Denny Hamlin. It should be a fun weekend out of IMS, certainly, with the Brickyard 400 coming up, and consider yourself updated.
The Ride with JMV.
Give me my theme music!
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
R.I.P. to a legend. Ozzy Osbourne today passed away at the age of 76. A classic from Ozzy. A legend. Roger Grismore. Roger's a good dude, by the way, too. Was the winner of the Harrah's Hoosier Park race of the day. The horse riding the Seaside paid $4 on a $2 bet. The $2 trifecta was $36.20. The 50-cent trifecta, $54.30. That is your Harrah's Hoosier Park race of the day. We'll do it again tomorrow. 50 in betting, 50 in dining, courtesy of Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino in Anderson. With racing going on now through November, we do this at JMV 1070, Tuesday through Friday. You find yourself the horse, you win. 50 in betting, 50 in dining. That's your Harrah's Hoosier Park race of the day. We do it again tomorrow without James, as Nathaniel is in for James coming up tomorrow and for the remainder of the week. 239-1070 is that number. Anthony has been on hold for a minute. He joins us now. Hello, Anthony. How are you?
Hey, John. How are you doing?
Great, Anthony. Go ahead.
Hey, sorry. I one of these days I'm going to call you and we're going to talk about the glory days of the Colts, and it's going to be in the present tense.
Sure.
But that's not going to be today.
Right.
I listened to Chris Bauer's press conference while I was on my lunch break, and I was disappointed, and I guess I shouldn't be surprised. But he's in there, talking about, that Baker Mayfield timeline,
yeah,
Sam Darnold timeline. How many Super Bowls have Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold won?
Well, and here, like, do you know the movie An Officer and a Gentleman?
Yeah.
Remember when Richard Gere had that, Anthony had that quote of "I've got nowhere else to go." Chris Ballard's he's got nowhere else to go with anything right now.
Right.
I mean, they are plumb out of any excuses. That's why I mentioned earlier, Anthony. Nobody's going to listen to. Nobody wants to hear any of that. It's either you do it so we can see it and see it consistently, or you move on. There's just nobody's going to listen to any of it. No question.
Yeah, he's up there and he's like, well, you media people, you didn't count, Darius Leonard. Yeah. How long ago was that draft? It's 8 years ago.
Yeah, nobody cares. Yeah, and I mean, you got to say something, right? I mean, you got to say something. You got to have answers to these questions. And as I mentioned, he's plumb out of answers. And the only answer is to win something. Yes.
The only answer that he has is a whole lot of hot air.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess the thing that you either do that and answer it in that fashion, or you're not available at all, which nobody would like. So yeah, you're just kind of out of everything at this point until this team performs.
Let me just end it with this, and it's something that I've thought about lately about Chris Ballard and the way I can't recall a Colts season where it felt like there was less energy going into it. I've been a fan.
Yes.
1-15 season.
Yeah, it's not something that you're, as they would say, misfeeling right here, Anthony. There is a great deal. I mentioned that at the end of the show yesterday. There is a great deal of truth to that level of apathy going into this season. Anthony, thank you for your call. 1075thefan.com, by the way. Make sure you're a part of the Fan Invitational Golf Outing presented by Franciscan Health. Thursday, August the 7th. That is creeping up. 1075thefan.com. I promise you one hell of a great time. James, thank you very much. Have a great rest of the week. Nathaniel is in. Nick Cross joins us coming up on tomorrow's show as well. Nathaniel in for James, Nick Cross on the show. Thursday Tavern Tour stop. We're going to be at Taylor's Pub, Greenbrier, on Thursday with Brent Halverson. The Fever coming up tonight. 7:45 your coverage begins with Eddie Garrison right here on The Fan. Beyond the Bricks also coming up. Have a great night.